Hello, students. Today's video is titled Word Problems, Part 1. And because I really want you to understand this process, we're just going to do one example in this video, and then I'll do a second video, Word Problems Part 2, where I'll do another example. Okay, so here is the example for this video. There's a lot going on here, so we'll read it through first. Then we'll read it again, maybe highlight some things, and then we'll get to work. Okay, so if you want to read this silently while I read it aloud. Indiana Ridge Middle School surveyed the students to determine which sport is most popular. Students were able to choose from soccer, football, lacrosse, and swimming. The same number of students chose lacrosse and swimming. The number of students who chose soccer was double the number of students who chose lacrosse. The number of students who chose football was triple, that means 3 times, was triple the number of students who chose swimming. If 434 students completed the survey, how many students chose each sport? Whew, there's a lot going on there that we have to sift through. And one of the things I've told you in the past is when you're doing a word problem, if something's like good to know, but it's not really giving you information that you're going to calculate with, maybe we go ahead and cross it out. So let's reread this with that in mind. Indiana Ridge Middle School surveyed the students to determine which sport is most popular. Like, that's good to know. It sets the scene. We know what's going on, but there's really nothing there that I'm going to use. So I'm going to go ahead and just sort of scribble that out. And because what it does for me is it goes, okay, that's less to deal with. So I know there's a middle school, and I know they're asking students about sports. Great. Let's read the next sentence. Students were able to choose from soccer, football, lacrosse, and swimming. Now, that I feel is important. That's when I get a little sheet of paper here and I say, okay, I'm going to write these sports down. We've got soccer. I'm just going to write them in the order that they appear. We've got soccer, football, lacrosse, and swimming. So soccer, football. Actually, let me do it this way. I'm going to actually go across this way. Let me try that again. I'm going to do soccer, and then football, and then lacrosse, and finally swimming. Okay? And with that, I can kind of get rid of that sentence. I can because I got it. I got it on my paper. So let me start to cross that sentence out. Just somehow this gives me some sort of sense of calm that I don't have so many words to deal with. Okay, great. All right, now let's read on. The next sentence says, the same number of students chose lacrosse and swimming. So there's something here about lacrosse and swimming, and the exact same number of students picked both of those sports as like their favorite. So when I think of lacrosse and swimming, right, I don't know how many students picked it, but I know that it's the same. And when I don't know something, like when I'm needing to hold the place for a number that I'm later going to solve for, maybe I call that X. So I'm going to say X students chose lacrosse and X students chose swimming. So like if this is 10, this is 10. If this is 20, this is 20. If this is 100, this is 100. But I'm just using an X to hold the place. And then I can get rid of this sentence. Okay. Let's read on. The number of students who chose soccer was double the number of students who chose lacrosse? So here's lacrosse. Soccer had double the students choose it. How do I represent double this? Like if this was 10, right? This would be 20. If this was 40, double that, this would be 80. What am I doing here? What am I multiplying by to get from lacrosse to soccer to double it? Hopefully you're thinking I'm multiplying by 2. So x times 2, which I like to write like this, 2x, because doesn't 2x mean 2 times x? I'm doubling my lacrosse choices. Great. I'm going to cross that sentence out. This is just chipping right along here. Okay. All this is now gone because I've like handled it on my paper. Okay. We're coming down to the wire here. Okay, the next sentence says, the number of students who chose football was triple the number of students who chose swimming. Okay, so now we're on to football, and we're tripling swimming. Well, swimming is x, so what would I do to triple that? What would I multiply by to triple something? I hope you're thinking 3, so let's make that 3x, 3 times as many, 3 times the swimmers. Now, can get rid of that. Now, the final sentence here says, if 434 students completed the survey, let's stop there. So when you take the number of students who chose soccer plus the number of students who chose football plus the number of students who chose lacrosse plus the number of students who chose swimming, it's a total of 434 students. So that takes care of that. How many students chose each sport? So we've got to find the actual numbers that are going to click in here. Well, we know how to solve equations. We've been studying one-step and two-step equations. So if you look at our left side of our equal sign, we've got some like terms. In fact, all of these terms, we have 4 terms, 1, 2, 3, 4, and our coefficients are 2, 3, 1. We know there's like a 1 here, right, and a 1. Come on, refocus for me. There we go. My camera didn't want to focus there for a second. So let's add these together. So 2x plus 3x, 5x, 6x, 7x. So I've got 7x on the left side equals 434. Now we want to solve for this x. We want to get it alone. We want to get rid of 7. Well, the operation being done right now between the 7 and the x is multiplication. So the opposite operation is division. So I'm going to divide by 7, both sides. These 7 divided by 7 is 1, and 1 times x is just x equals. Now 434 divided by 7, I may have to do a little side hustle here. 434 divided by 7. 7 does not go into 4. It does go into 43 6 times. 6 times 7 is 42. Subtract that, bring down the 4. And 7 fits into 14 twice. 2 times 7 is 14, with a remainder of 0. So x is going to be right here, 62. Now what's so cool about that, once we know that x is 62, watch what happens up here. That means 62 students chose swimming. 62 students chose lacrosse. Remember, the same number chose lacrosse and swimming. Now we go over here, 3 times x. Now remember, x is 62, so 3 times 62. Let's see what that is. Let's do that here. 62 times 3 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 3, let's see, that's 18. So 186 students chose football. And 2 times x, that's 2 times x, 62. I think I can do that in my head. That's 124. So you would finish that by saying 124 students chose soccer, 186 students chose football, 62 students chose lacrosse, and 62 students chose swimming. Now, if you really want to check your work, you could add these 4 numbers together and see if you get 434. Let's do that. So if I add 124 to 186 to 62 to 62, let's see what I get. Okay, 4 plus 6 is 10, 12, 14. Carry the 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 8 is 11. 11 plus 6 is 17. 17 plus 6 is 23. Carry the 2. 2, 3, 4. And see how that checks out? 434. 434. And that, my friends, is how you do a word problem with some algebra. So hopefully that made sense. We're just going to do the 1. And like I said, I'll follow up with a part 2. Thanks for watching, and happy trails to you.